I reckon this is probably the latest a podcast has ever been recorded. It's 7:11 p.m. We're at Leamington at the club, just finished hitting 5 till 7, which again is like an unusual time to hit in itself. But yeah, I'm pretty exhausted. As you can tell from my voice, Ben won't be because he just hit loads of winners. But that's not through my lack of trying. I mean, I tried to get the ball back, got the ball back, but end of the day, like, if you're getting beaten, that is life. And that is what you'll probably see on Instagram when I whack these videos on later on tonight. But no, Benno's had a good day. Oh yeah, you had a nice day, haven't you?
Been very pleasant, yeah. Half days at work,
Oh, cheeky.
which is quite nice. But I was here first thing, so I'm not doing the late half, unfortunately. It's just quite a long day.
Just
at
had a
work.
long day. That's just because you love the game.
It's
You
been a
love
long
training.
day.
Love training.
Can't turn down practice with you, mate.
Woo! That's what we like to hear. No, well, that's great because yeah, no, I've come down here. Daz wasn't working this week really. I think I did message him actually asking for it, but didn't quite materialise. But no, we're here, all good. Great to see the Instagram accounts popping a little bit. I was really proud of I was like, it was like role reversed. I was like a proud dad when you put those videos on. I was like, flipping heck, he's doing this without me prompting him.
Which ones?
The ones of you and Rodders.
For the training videos.
Yeah, and the story. Be like,
Mate, it was my first ever like selfie vlog where I spoke into the camera.
Did you get nervous?
I didn't get nervous. I just felt like a tit. I did actually say to.
What does that say about me then?
I said to Gordo, I was like, "Oh right, just bear with me. I'm about to do my first ever like selfie video." He's like, "Why are you doing that?" So
it's called a vlog in the trade.
Yeah, I was like, "I've got to put it on the. I've got to put it on the Instagram page, haven't I?" He's like, "Oh, am I going to be videoed for the next like hour?" I was like, "No, not the hour.
Not for the next hour. No.
Try and hit a few winners, and I'll get them up there for you."
Yeah, exactly. Come on, Lewis. Come on, we need some content, mate.
And no broken noses, bonus.
Literally, was he pumping them? Did he hit any good forces?
Well, he hit some good forces. Of course he did. He didn't actually hit
many.
many.
You got him back.
He didn't hit many forces, to be fair. Didn't hit many.
Oh, fair. What can you say? Same as me today, but that's just because the ball didn't really go on the back.
Yeah, well, hopefully I didn't give him the opportunity to.
Exactly, that's the skill in real tennis, isn't it? But well, we were Thursday. I think RTO results are going back in. Is that right? Is that a thing?
Yeah, we've been encouraged to put them back in. I think I'm not doing it until the beginning of September.
I support that as well. I just don't think they should be in. I think it's.
Well, I sent a message to my members like when we reopened saying you've basically got August for free.
So, RTO wise,
just get back into it. Don't worry about your handicap. Don't get you've not played for ages.
People do care about the handicap. They do care about the point
you've got more chance of imagine you haven't played for 5 months, and then you just walk on court and that first match is going in the book. You're going to go all over the place, probably injure yourself.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, look, guys, just come and hit some balls, get back into it. No pressure on your handicap. Have some fun. Get your eye in.
Literally, yeah.
1st of September, let's go.
What can you do? Well, no, we'll see. I know some clubs will be putting RTO back in. I know Craig did a tweet, but yeah.
I heard about that actually this morning. It was a bit of a ripple, wasn't it?
A good tweet, actually. Yeah.
Somebody told me.
No, it was just a good tweet.
But he's absolutely right, though.
People care a lot.
Oh, they care way too much.
I cared back in the day.
Of course you did. What you don't now?
I care so much.
Exactly.
I just want to be zero, but it's not going to happen yet.
I always say to people, who cares if you're playing off 41 or 43? You're not getting into the British Open, so it literally doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you enjoy playing? Yes or no? And the answer is obviously yes, otherwise they wouldn't do it. Do you enjoy losing and getting a handicap loss? No, obviously not. Well, just stop caring what your handicap is and just play.
Yeah, exactly.
How much of someone's brain? You get it all the time when some people are really focused on getting their handicap down for some reason. I'm always like, why don't you just concentrate on being a better player, and then your handicap will take care of itself. That's irrelevant. And they walk on court and they're like, well, I figured out that if I won 3-2 today, I'd get a big win. And I'm like, what? And you were thinking about that the whole way through your hour on court. That's
I
helpful.
used to think like that.
Yeah, and so did I at a point, when I was, back in Bridport. But there's a hell of a lot more to life than a handicap.
That's when I was outside of Category 1, actually. Because when you're Category 1, it's really hard to tell. Because you're playing different matches and stuff, how many games you need to drop.
My handicap is 5 points worse than its best ever. Do I care one iota?
Well, no.
Absolutely not. Literally couldn't care less.
But you would like to be plus 10.
Yeah, it would be a goal to get to plus double figures, but it's going to take me a few years to do that based on where I am now.
You could do it in an open.
Well, yeah, we can move around a bit more, but I just don't care.
Well, yeah, who knows? We're not here to talk about handicaps. That is really boring.
Particularly as we've just said to stop Stop worrying about it.
Yeah, no,
Talk
guys,
about it
genuinely,
for 40 minutes.
stop worrying about it. I know any of you non-real tennis players listening, even don't even worry about it at all. But yeah, we had a good response last week because obviously we put the question out, and I think that's a really good way of doing a podcast. Maybe people will chip in.
Well, I mean, yeah, we've got like
we've got
things to talk
ammunition.
about,
It's
but
just
it's
it
quite
just
nice
helps
to have.
because like obviously there's only so much we can talk about when tournaments aren't happening and stuff, and generally in the sport itself. But Josh King from there we go, he's not anonymous, from Middlesex.
Or Hatfield.
Or Hatfield, yeah, I know. He's from like Hertfordshire. Chipped in last week with an idea. Are you just getting the Insta DMs up?
Would you like me to read the question word for word?
Yeah, go for it, bro.
So, Josh wants to know. I feel like we're presenting like a radio show. Like he's phoned in.
Hi, Josh.
What's your name? Where'd you come from? What are the top 3 simple realizations you've had that improved your game? Which is like a really, really good question. And I have to say, considering we were asked that, how many days ago now?
7.
9 days ago, I genuinely have not put any thought process into my answers. So you're gonna get like the real thing.
You haven't thought about it.
I've not sat down and
Well,
like
neither have I. But I mean, I
pre-planned
can
it.
probably just make it up like I do every time.
Well, I remember it may be like, I mean, I suppose the thing with like a realization is it can either be something that you've like figured out for yourself, or you've been like coached it and something's just kind of clicked and you've gone, wow, that's made like a really, really big difference. Like I remember, I think I've said it to you before. Like, I remember when I was at like Hampton Court and I was playing off like
18.
I don't know, maybe like 5. Better than that.
You've chomped on that.
I was playing off about 5 or something, and I made a conscious effort because I would say that I'm quite a tidy, like organised player. Like I got taught the classic like game of real tennis, so I've always had that kind of base level stuff. I've had to really like fight and work on like the messy stuff and the aggressive stuff because doesn't come naturally to me. But I remember when I was playing off about 5 or something, literally from 5 down to 0 I just basically made a conscious effort to not leave as much stuff to the back wall.
Yeah.
I was like, as in, if it's there and you can cut it off, cut it off. And I spent like a good like the whole time from like 5 to 0. It was I was cutting stuff off, but it was like messy. Do you know what I mean? Because it's not natural to me.
Yeah.
So instead of
and
leaving
also
it to
there's certain balls where you could leave it and gamble, or you could like really try and get across and volley it or half
it was just like it was just like exactly, and I was kind of hitting like forehand volleys that would like hit the main wall and then miss the timbre and pop around the corner, and like still doing that now, but it really put like it gave my opponent so much less time, and I realised that actually it's such a positive move, and if you take some time away from them by the ball being on their side of the net a lot more, it's amazing how much more they kind of struggle.
They'll miss, yeah. They'll overhit.
I remember and do you know what the time pressure it puts on people and stuff, it just breeds confidence, and it takes a while. It took me a while to kind of get used to like not the like messiness, but like I've always like admired like aesthetically pleasing real tennis, and it was quite weird for me to hit shots which looked a bit ugly but were effective, and it was a real like battle, internal struggle to just be like, it's good because it's effective, and obviously over time, as we always say with these things, like you practice it and you practice it and you practice it, and now I cut stuff off, and I can hit it tight as well. So it does happen.
I think it's true, to be fair. Like I used to love the back wall. I used to leave loads because at Manchester, obviously, like it comes up a lot. I was always taught to play like that. Like you wait for that ball off the back wall and then put it away. And obviously that works like when you just win a straight time ball when you're the point, but it doesn't necessarily work when it's got to be a little bit better.
Well, and people are so like, again, like we spoke about this like ages ago about like technology and stuff like that, and like people have to be faster and like in better physical condition now than they were 30 years ago. They just have to be.
Yeah, it must be. Yeah, they must
Because there's so many more people putting in like more effort to do that, personal
I agree.
trainers and stuff like that. So yeah, leaving all that stuff to the back wall, like you've got to hit a pretty good shot to beat. You know, if you stick I'm thinking like if you put anybody down in the middle of the court and they feed you a floor back wall shot and let's say you're at the hazard end, so you're not going to hit like a dead on or something.
Yeah.
You put Camden at the service end, put like Rob, Chappers, Lumley, like Nick. Are you going to beat them in the corner with a cut shot?
No one does it.
They're physically going to get over there. They might not get it back, but you're not outright beating people, right?
When me and Daz play, I think there's hardly any floor stuff ever. It's like the points just ends. The points just end like with a dead on or a gallery. We don't really play the floor. If we do, it's just like a rescue.
Chop it around, and you're like, okay, it's good for a workout, but like people are just too good at that stuff now. And if you get yourself onto like a bouncier court as well, God, you can just be out there all day.
Yeah.
But imagine just like going out to like a Paris and just thinking, right, I'm going to play the floor today. I'm going to do nothing but play the floor. You will be out there for days, like you're trying to win this 5-set match. I remember having a hit with Steve. I think it was the year we won the US Open doubles. Actually, it might have been that exact year because it was
2010.
It was at New York, so it might have been that year. And we were doing some cross courts, and Steve was under the grill hitting forehands, and I'm at the forehand. At the service end, like in my backhand corner. So it's both of our best sides, right? It's my backhand against Steve's forehand, and I remember just laughing about 3/4 of the way through the basket, and he was like, "What are you laughing at?" And I was like, "I've not got a single ball past you." And he goes, "What do you mean?" I was like,
Steve.
"I've not got the ball to hit the back wall against you once yet."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Well, that's the point, isn't it?" I was like, "Well, maybe, but it's
Yeah,
not.
mate.
But it's not much fun for me. Like I'm literally working my tail off down here."
Steve's good at that though.
Because
Steve's
he's
good
just
at
like Steve's
cutting
pressure
the
is
ball
like the ball is always on your side of the net because
Yeah.
he just cuts it all off. It may not be the tidiest thing in the world, like some of the time, but it's always in your half of the court.
Yeah, genuinely, that is hard because then you feel like it's like,
You're
whoa,
like, the ball's
I'm not used to
always
this.
here. Yeah, the ball is always here.
Yeah.
And it's tough. Like when you put people under time pressure like that, you find that it doesn't need to be. You don't necessarily need to hit it as tight as you think you do because they're having to work physically harder. Because you're taking like 2 seconds.
It's easier said than done, right? Because like
massively.
if you
that was one thing I remember like really made a massive impact into my game.
I do think about it a lot, but like if you try and cut it off and then you hit a ball on the roof, it's like, well, this is pointless. Like I'm just inviting more pressure. Like it has to actually be decent.
Yeah, but you're absolutely right. But how does it get better?
Just gotta keep doing it.
You make a conscious effort to go, right, my default setting is to leave it. This is what I did. My default setting is to leave it and try and sweep and play tidy.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a conscious effort if I have an opportunity to cut it off, I'm going to cut it off. And I hit absolute toilet for ages, probably.
Yeah.
But I got 5 points better.
Spooky.
So
There we go.
that was one thing I really remember. What about you?
Well, I've got a good one.
Because you've been at all handicap spectrums.
Yeah, I know, and I'm on the spectrum. No, I'm not. No. But I remember one conversation when I read this message because you read it first, and I remember a chance conversation. And the one time I've ever met the guy, Rich Smith, right?
Yep.
We were at Queen's. I was at Queen's, and the Queen's tennis was on. And he was there, and we were all talking, and he was like, "Hey man, what's your handicap?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm off like 10, like 10 or something like that." And he said, "Oh man, I remember being off that 10, and I got down to like 3, just by making less errors." And I was like, "Oh, fair." And he was like, "Mate, you get down 3 without even trying. Just make rather than making an error after 2 shots, like make it after 3. Just make an extra shot, and you'll get better." And I was like, "All right, okay." And then I think that summer I'd have been to uni. I'd been to uni in September, and I thought, well, maybe I just need to make less errors, and just like concentrate harder on fighting a little bit. And yeah, I did get better.
Well, if you think about it, if you get one more...
It's a true conversation that as well. He literally like said to me, he might have been pissed, I don't know, but he generally said just make less errors and you'll get to like 3.
Yeah, but it's sound advice. If you get one more ball over the net than your opponent, you're going to win, right?
100%. I still do that now.
Yeah. Yeah, I say it to members. They're like, "How can I get 5 points with my handicap? I might get more balls over." And they're like...
And people, and it's not even easier said than done. Like, quite often people will just make the wrong choice and they'll go for something too big. Whereas just push it back or something.
Yeah, of course. Like, but and what you're finding now, like when I said to you, like halfway through our hit out there today, you know, like the next step for you is that you're content to run around and get the ball back, but you don't, you know, you need to try now off 3 to be more specific as to where you're getting it back to.
I do remember that
'Cause
rally
you're
in
just like
question.
you're shoveling it back to me. You're kind of like, right, I've got it back, and it's on the back penthouse, and then I'm just hacking it in there again, and then you might get that one back. And the difference between playing a 5-6 is if you get 3 good gets, you might then get something a bit loose. Whereas when you play a +5 or 6, you're not getting anything loose. It's just going to be. And in fact, I think I remember after that rally, I just like, or there was one rally where I just said afterwards, like I laughed and just said relentless pressure.
Yeah.
Because you can just shovel it back all day long, but like in theory, someone of my level is not going to be too
Yeah.
loose when I
That
get to you. So
that rally, I
if
was
you want to
just
just literally drag yourself side to side, then it's like you're gonna have to do some work.
it was a weird one. Like I was seeing it well, and I was just like, I had choices to make in my head, like whether or not I tried something, like tried to hit like a timbre or hit wider or something or lower. I don't even know. Or I could have just kept it going. And I thought in that rally, I was like, come on, like let's just stay in there, let's win it, wait for your chance. It just never came, which is a shame.
But that's a massive difference, you know. Like you've got to. I remember Dawsey when I worked with him at Hatfield. He said to me, like the reason I can beat, because he was off like 0, 1. In fact, he beat Dave Woodman when I worked with him.
Dawsey, yeah, European Open.
European Open.
God,
He said to me, like the reason I'm better than the single figure guys, as in like the 3s, 4s, whatever. He just says, I just literally walk on court and I'm like, you're going to make an error before me, or his leg's going to break. But
yeah, always shoulder. Always...
you're going to make an error before me. I'm just going to keep getting it back, and I'm not going to cock it up, and they'll make an error before me. And he's like, and that's how I beat them all. He's like, I don't necessarily beat them all; they just lose.
Yeah.
And then he said the big difference is, like practicing with you, is he's like, if I just go along with the method, which is how I play, of like I'm just going to be steady and keep getting the ball over, he's like, the problem is you can do that as well as I can, and you can hit winners, which basically means I don't have a chance.
Yeah, yeah.
Unless he's, and he's like,
unless you have a nightmare.
Unless I'm willing to completely rewrite how I play the game, which he's like, I'm not going to do that at my age or interest level, but anyway, so that was, I remember that was just like one thing that really, and I can't remember whether I decided to do it or somebody kind of gave me some. If it was anybody, it would have been Ben Robinson. And we were just kind of chatting about it in the pro show one day. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to try and cut some more stuff off.
Nice.
Try and do a bit more.
That's good.
Don't know if it was Ben's advice, but he can take the credit for it.
There we go. More stuff.
Return a serve.
Yeah, return a serve being better.
I just literally remember like saying to myself like...
Yeah, that's true actually. Being more aggressive on return serves.
I remember saying to myself like, right, in order to get to the very top of this game, you have to have a weapon. You've got to have at least one weapon, something that people are scared of. And I found the volley returner serve. I just thought, right, I can run around and not miss backhands all day, but if I'm getting absolutely torn apart on serve and return, what's the point? Like, what's the point in having a really good ground stroke or a really good back wall shot? If you're just getting munched, like right off the bat, what's the point? And I remember just saying to myself, like, right, I want to have, I specifically said to myself, I want to have the best cut volley in the world. Hasn't happened yet, but that's what I said. I was like, I'm just going to practice this and practice it and practice it. And then like we've just done some points out there. I didn't miss one.
Yeah, that doesn't always happen, I must admit.
Yeah,
there's been times I've served bobbles at you and you've missed them.
But it's so nice. It's so nice to walk on court and just kind of go like, right, we can do the rally drills and I can work on this kind of stuff. And I know, you've got that kind of stuff to like fall back on. I remember talking to Chris Ronaldson about it once. Not that many years ago, actually, like way after I worked with him. And I said, I went down and looked at some serves with him, and he's like, what kind of happens? And I was like, well, they just get murdered. I just obviously don't serve very well. And he's like, well, the first thing to remember is you're playing against the best players in the world. Everyone can return serve. He's like, when you've got someone serving at you, do you think like, oh yeah, I can like hit a couple of volleys better than 2 there, or that's high back warm, I can hit a dead on from here? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, you have to appreciate that they think that when you're serving to them as well. Like, obviously.
Yeah, I know.
And then he kind of said, like, how often do you practice it? And I was like, I don't really practice my serve very much. And he was like, right, so if there's one thing you are guaranteed in every single point, it is a serve and a return. You're going to get that in every one.
True.
You might not get a forehand volley or a ball off the timbre or whatever it is. So he's like, so basically you're out there doing baskets and baskets and baskets of balls you'd see in a rally, and yet you're not practicing the two things that you are definitely.
I'm a massive believer in serve and return. Lumley told me that. He said, well, this is again a training point if anyone who's listening. This is in Chicago in 2016. He just said, me and Braham were actually practicing, Charlie Braham, who's obviously contributed to this, but like, we were practicing, like, it must have been after the Open, so like after a day of the Open, and there was a free call, and we had like a hit, started at like 8, finished at 10, like a long hit. And Braham said to me, like, let's just do points. Lumley was saying, like, you just got to do points. Like, don't even bother. Like, if you think cross court's going to make you better, they won't. You just got to hit balls. Yeah. You've got to hit balls and like get better. And we had a great sweat. It was good. For, like,
well, also imagine sets. Like if you're well, I put a video up the other day, didn't I? Like, make the most of your practice. Doesn't matter who it is, how you practice.
Again, that was inspirational.
Like Chris, like firing left-handed railroads at me. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, purposeful practice.
You can't serve as well as Camden can, but if we start doing baskets, it's not going to be good practice for either of us.
It's going to get better though.
Let's take something that you can do well and serve a railroad, and I'll just practice my return.
I can't stand doing practice when it's not points involved. Like, I have to do some serving.
Well, it's, you know, like,
or returning.
Imagine if you went out there and you just hit baskets and baskets and baskets.
You think you're playing sick. Real tennis is
absolutely amazing. And then you get on court and play someone of your level, and it's like, right, there's serve and return involved now, and you haven't returned a serve for like 6 months.
Well, it would never be that bad, but like when you pick in a match, honestly, like you go on a weird court and you return serve, and you're like, oh my god, what's going on here?
Like, you spend ages literally going like, literally what is going on. I'm watching points and games go past because I just don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, honestly.
So you might have the best, cross-court game in the world. If you if you can't get a serve back, then like what's the point?
Honestly, it's mental. But that's returning serve is back to the original point. I think you got to have a better return serve. I think mine, after I lost to Peter Wright in the Open in 2017, I thought to myself, you've just got to like gamble more on your return. Like, you really got to just be more aggressive rather than just like cutting it if you get a chance. Because I thought, my force isn't great, so my cutting's better, so I'll do that. But obviously, I wasn't getting through anyone. And obviously, the previous year, I'd got through people just by being steady. And then I thought, I'm going to start driving the ball around here, off the return serve, like low. And I can't remember what happened after that, actually. Oh yeah, I won the under-24s and got to the final got to the semi-final of the amateur in the 0 to 9s, which is a better result than losing first round of the Open. And I beat Pete twice, which is a proven point.
Yeah, exactly.
Since that loss, like I beat him twice after that. So
you've taken like Rich's advice and gone, right, I'm gonna get more balls over. I'm gonna be really reliable, and it's got you.
It got me to that point, Jamie. Got me to like a 5 or a 6. Yep. There, that was it. And then I was like, shit.
Because obviously we were like practicing, during that time.
I thought I was playing well.
It was like, right, you were like, right, I can't just say I've done it now. I need to do something else. And you chose to be a bit more aggressive and stuff like that. Yeah. That accounts for, a few points as well and stuff. The big thing, another massive thing, which I think is not necessarily underrated, but like it doesn't get the attention that it absolutely needs for anyone, even like at club level, like at bad club level, like at young level,
thought you were about to say amateur level, just to infuriate me.
The people that are kind of like 20s and stuff that are trying to get better, literally at any level, strategy is absolutely massive, and I just don't think people really give it enough attention.
I agree with you, yeah. No, true. Knowing what to do is important. But
not necessarily like knowing what to do, because there's no right or wrong way, but if you're going to do something, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Like, what's the hope, and what response are you hoping for? And to be fair, that was something that like Nick was very good on like a day-to-day basis. Like, well, obviously I'd have Nick at Hampton Court, which was great, and on a kind of not so regular basis, like academy sessions with Rob and stuff like that, and it
Yeah.
was like I get a lot when I have like sessions with Rob, a lot out of the talking. Like I genuinely don't like I don't need to be on court. Like,
Why don't you just have a beer with him then?
pick his brain? Yeah.
Maybe you should like not have a lesson and just like.
Or just like pick his brain about like you just kind of go, oh yeah, I've never really thought about that, and then like well maybe about this, and as soon as you start to like if you think of like real tennis strategy as like one big jigsaw, like you just start putting pieces together, and you're like, well, if that happens, then this response kind of happens quite a lot, and like you can see, I think, if you have two people of like the same handicap, one of them's a tactician and the other one isn't. The tactician wins every time.
I agree with you. I agree.
Like literally
it's
every
very
time.
true. I think you get to some people like have tactics and have strategy, but I wouldn't necessarily. It's great strategy, but they have it.
Yeah, and even if it's basic,
Like
at least
people
at least
think
they
it
know
is
what
like
they're doing and why.
I'm not naming any names, but like you watch some people, I'm like that is so negative. Like I'd compare it to cricket. Like you're just bowling to like fielders on the boundary. Like that's how you're setting up. You're setting up to like make them make a mistake. Like just hitting galleries every time. Like I used to do it.
You've been watching your own videos.
Mate, fuck no. I don't like if I get a ball like middle of the court off the back wall. I try and hit a dead on. I wouldn't put it in the second gallery because I know full well that the person's just going to walk up the other end and beat second. It's negative. It's negative. Like, and I hate seeing. I don't hate seeing it because I just think that's a ridiculously horrendous choice. I'm just going to beat second gallery here. Like, I laugh at it rather than like people thinking, yeah, I'm going to chase five. I mean, yeah, I think sometimes people get sucked into their own strategy and think that this is what's happened, or like I'm going to keep cutting it. But yeah, I mean, yeah.
Like I'm determined to get my chase two.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter if it takes me 3 games to do.
I'm like, mate, you've got to hit a force at some point. Like my force isn't great, but like I will hit one. I really will. Like after, like just to change it up in something. Like because I just know cutting it around doesn't work.
So who like here's a question for you then?
We're
Because
going deep into this.
You would have been on court with lots and lots of people,
Mate, I've been on court with a lot.
and
like,
been taught like had like a lot of different lessons and stuff like that. Who's given you not like the best advice, but who do you feel like who do you feel like's given you some like pointers where you've just gone like, yeah, that's made a massive difference in my game? Because you've had like
loads.
Steve, obviously, like
Drew was good. Drew was
all
good.
the way through like your childhood. You've done the Queens thing for like a bit. You were over in
Drew
Chicago.
helped. I remember talking to Drew. I used to talk to Drew. Like obviously he loves just talking, and like about anything. And I used to talk to him about the game.
And you love talking about real tennis. So.
Yeah, no, I do. And I just remember there was one point when Danny Jones just said something to me as well. He was just like, let's say if you're in trouble and you get a back wall, just, and again I'm going to flip back to this gallery point, but he said, because it'll make your opponent think they've hit a bad shot if you end the point by hitting a gallery or like a chase. So it's not necessarily hitting a gallery being negative, it's that psychology of it.
Well, exactly. Point. It depends.
There's literally loads of points I could think of.
Yeah,
like every single person
I've hit with. It depends what situation you're in as well, aren't you? If you're scrambling around under the grill and you flick this thing into second gallery, like that's a win for you.
Exactly, yeah. Who else? Well, Steve Vergona was just like, I think probably just showed me more about how to train, maybe about how intense it should be. I've taken that ever since I've
you're like, just crush it, mate. And you're like, okay, cool.
Yeah, no talking, which is an issue for me again, because obviously I quite like a bit of dialogue. But yeah, I think that probably showed me like that helped me cut errors.
I couldn't think of anything worse than going out there for our 2-hour sessions and just like going, right, what are we doing? And like that's not criticism of Steve at all. Like everyone practices in their own way.
Yeah,
I'm with you. Like I've got to be like having a bit of a laugh and a joke. Like if I hit some garbage ball that hits a crack and flies up and hits you in the side of the head, I'm going to laugh at you.
Yeah, I know.
Like that's going to happen.
It's like you're switching on and switching off, right?
Like, if I wrong foot you, I'm going to shout taxi. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it's going to happen. You've got to have like good hold.
Yeah.
You've got to have for me like that's how I enjoy it.
It's switching on and switching off. I think.
Take it seriously and work really hard.
You can't have the on switch on the entire time. You'll just hate it. You'll drive yourself mad.
Yeah.
Who else? Right, come on. I'll think of one more person who's helped, or just points I've listened to. I'm trying to think.
Because a lot of people are just good at like the talking, and some people just kind of interact with you in a certain way where you go, yeah, that makes sense.
KB and Chappers. One more point, which I'll say. 2015, above the top gallery British Open, KB and Chappers were there, and we were talking about the timbre. And I'd never ever realised this. Again, was off about 13, 12, and they were both saying straight tamber's like one of the worst shots ever. I was like, what? Why?
Yeah,
And I
it's like,
never knew.
You'll find out.
I never knew. And they were like, because the ball can just change direction so quickly and you can't see. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Maybe I'll start like trying to attack off the tamber, or maybe I'll stop hitting straight tambers because it's really bad. And literally like, yeah, these are all little points which I'll remember. And again, my memory's ridiculous when it comes to conversations and stuff. I'll always remember it, but all these little points which I do like pass on to people at various levels.
There's certain
Makes
things,
you realise.
well, yeah, because there's going to be certain shots that people favour, and they're going to, some people, oh god, I really find this shot difficult, and some people are going to find it easy or whatever it is. And like the tamber's just a good like broad thing, isn't it? Because it's the same level of difficulty in theory for everybody. Comes off the same angle for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, so everybody's in the same boat, and at some point, you, like you say, you just kind of cross that line where you go, I can attack this now.
You got to learn to love the timbre. That's what I tell people. Don't. I actively think I'd play it quite well. I don't think I played the timbre too badly, just because like I
Not
really
today.
worked on it. What? You hit me main water. I couldn't read them. They weren't even like.
Stop
obvious.
nibbling.
I didn't play the straight one too badly actually. Main was struggling.
But yeah, like that's a very good point. Again, like, and obviously we are talking about like more advanced players.
Yeah.
There comes that time where the timbre is not helpful for you as the aggressor.
Mate, honestly, I roll my eyes when I hit straight timbre now. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
I've just done that because you have to run harder because you don't know where it's
If I
going.
like, hit a backhand cross court and I see it hitting straight timbre, I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna have to work so hard. And imagine sticking a lefty there as well.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, I'm gonna have to run to either corner hit or take one like in the side of the temple.
Yeah. One thing I will say, so Ben Corson, who was on the Instagram last week on the videos, he's been just messaging me saying I'm really into real tennis. I'm getting really into it now. The podcast is inspiring me. The reelers, whatever. And same with Cipriano actually. He's inspired by it. But anyway, Ben's obviously a rackets player. He's not played too much reelers, and he's getting really frustrated. He was telling me about like, oh, I feel like I don't progress. Like I feel like I should be better. I'm like, hang on a minute. I think this applies to everyone when it comes to what light bulb moment happened. Have you actually played that much real tennis? Like, you're probably at the level where you should be right now in comparison to how much you've played.
Well, I'd go one step further than that and be like, you might be frustrated, but for someone who's played for the amount of time that you've played, you're going to be infinitely better than someone else who's played for the same amount of time.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
exactly,
mean?
yeah. Well, this is Ben, yeah.
Ben Corson's going to have walked on court and probably played off 35 the first time he's ever played. Do you know what I mean?
So I think one thing which we can probably wrap this up a little bit with, for Josh's question, what made you realise it takes time?
He asked for 3 and I didn't give him 3 and
Oh mate, there aren't 3 though because it's so personal. It's so.
But it
personal.
is personal, yeah.
And like everyone's got their little things, and it maybe some are bigger than others. But I just say like, just consider that it takes a long time, and it's not going to happen overnight. There aren't going to be 3 things. Oh yeah, basically he's wanting 3 things from you. Where like if I work on these 3, I'll get better. That's not how it's going to work.
I used to always like seek approval from somebody else.
It's not going to work like that. It's
And
not
I'd
going
be
to work
like,
like
well, this
that.
is what I think I need to work on.
Oh yeah, I'm
And then-
nailing grills today. Like great, you're playing like someone off 30. Like
Yeah. I used to kind of think, oh, maybe I need to do this, and they'd be like, oh, Nick, Rob, like, what do you think? And I'd wait for one of them to go yes, and be like, right, that's what I'm going to do then. Another big thing I did, which I don't know when it happened. It probably would. I mean, it would have happened really like when I was at Hatfield, and then very much so like up here because I've got nobody up here in terms of like mental wise.
yeah,
I just took ownership of my own game.
it's a good way of doing it.
And I was just like, right, I'm not going to wait for someone to go, yes, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just going to go, right, this is what I think I need to do, so I'm going to do it.
There are some people who need a mentor, like I think, or someone to guide them.
It's an
Maybe
age
they're
thing
not-
as well.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
you get to a certain age and you just go, right, I think I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, if we kind of just, like, kind of summarise and go back to, like, if we're answering Josh's question specifically, because I think he's in like the mid to late 20s handicap.
Sure, man. Yeah. No, I know. Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
in the
Somewhere
20s.
Yeah.
The simple thing is, figure out what kind of player, what you think your strengths are, therefore what type of player you are, how you want the points to look.
Yeah.
If you want to go and seek like professional help.
Professional help. You make it sound like you need counselling.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And be like, do you think this is right? Do you think this suits my game style? Blah blah blah. And then literally, as you said, time. It just takes time.
Yeah, it does. Like, and
work your nuts off and just keep going and keep going and keep going.
Yeah.
And then do you know what? At some point, and you'll go through like hell, and at some point, something will just click, and your like body will just go, yeah, I've got it.
Yeah,
and you just go, oh right, thank God.
Yeah,
and now I can do it.
Easier. I know. Weirdly, in lockdown, I find that I'm hitting more grills than before. Don't even try it. Don't even try. I'm definitely off there. Against Daz, maybe I'm hitting more grills just because I thought when I'm hitting a forehand grill, aim left to centre and it'll curl, and I'd never done that before, and now I'm a bit more accurate.
There you go.
That's one little thing which I realised in lockdown just by thinking and taking that on board a little bit.
But you did actually, like, obviously, there was something on the story, the Insta story today, which did say, which published your declaration of war on the grill today.
Yeah.
Are you willing to elaborate as to how many grills you hit today?
I definitely hit one, two. I hit one volley, which wasn't meant. I probably hit a few in the drills, but in the points, minimal. I don't even know. I don't actually think I hit a winning gallery, which is a shame for me because I'm normally not too bad.
I don't think either of us hit it. Oh, I hit a couple
You
of
hit backhand ones.
Yeah,
weird actually.
They'll be on Insta.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah, it takes time. But fantastic question, Josh. And literally, guys, just get them in the DMs. We're both on there.
Well, I hope we've answered it somehow and not just.
No, I think it's complicated. Real tennis is complicated, isn't it? And
I hope you see that as valuable.
No, indeed. By the way, I don't know what court we're on.
Do you know what? I'm literally just looking at a map because I was like, we've not actually discussed what court we're on.
No. Falkland Palace isn't happening.
Well, we've basically done the whole western corridor and up through the middle. So, I mean, unless I'm missing one, it's got to be Cambridge.
Cambridge? Yeah, it could be. Yeah, down the east.
If you go down from the north, you've got Jesmond, Manchester, which we've done, and then you get to the Midlands, Leamington, Morecambe, which is done. We've done west of that, Bristol. We've done south of that, which is like Hollyport, Wellington, Oratory, Hardwick, Oxford, Radley. God, we've done a lot.
Yeah, man. We're on episode 27, and we started this after episode 11.
Yeah, okay. Well, then it's got to be Cambridge. So now it's going to be Cambridge, Newmarket, Prested, and then into London.
Into Londres. Wow.
Unless we're missing any, which would be embarrassing. That'd be quite funny, actually. I'm not gonna
it's good.
Figure out if we forgot. I'm not gonna list them all and then plan a route.
It's cool, man.
We'll forgot.
Cambridge, that's cool because I've been there loads of times. Absolutely loads. 2 courts.
2 courts.
You got the blue court, the old court,
one
the
of
green.
One of 3 2-court complexes in the UK.
Yeah.
Right. Let's start with one thing about Cambridge, right? Because it's a university court and it's got 2 courts. So high praise indeed for Cambridge University. I'm not buying into this home of real tennis rubbish.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay. No, neither am I. It's genuinely
Where's that come from?
It's genuinely just some weird hashtag on Twitter.
Someone's just said.
I think they're trolling us. They're making us nibble.
Well, they've succeeded. Well done.
You know what I mean? Some football club accounts just sort of chime in with stuff.
Oh yeah, but it'll be Villa or whatever, home of the Midlands or something. They're just having a bit of a nibble at about the other.
Best striker in the Premier League, Wesley. Yeah.
Anyway, the home of real tennis, Cambridge University.
Oh God, that's the last time that'll be mentioned.
2 courts. I'm not actually sure. The new one's been around. So it's the green and the blue, right?
It's 2002.
The green and the blue.
The blue.
What are they called?
Yeah, the blue.
Well, this is interesting. First time we've had to do this. What's your favourite?
Oh, the blue.
The new one?
Yeah.
No, never.
Yeah, I know when people say that. I've played so well there in my life.
Well, yeah, it's just right up your street.
Yeah, it is.
Slow, no cut. You can just literally run around and work hard.
And it's got a receptive main wall. My forces, mate. I play well there. I play serious. You can't serve there, so people can't serve through me.
True. I wonder if because
I know the other court's more conventional, but that penthouse is so bad.
So the setup is obviously you walk in the front door and then you've got the little small club on the right, which is behind little viewing area with the new court.
Yeah.
Now they've got the dead on net, and then they've got some perspex in behind that. I wonder if they've got that there for like just to kind of keep a bit of noise out if people are chatting in the pro shop and in that like little area.
That is true. That is true. That does keep noise out.
Yeah, which it will. Or whether they've just gone. We've had years of Jamie Douglas and Dave Woodman just destroying our down there, so we're going to put some protection up.
That's quite funny. And Rob Fay in National League.
Imagine like Pete Patterson just being sat there like just on the computer and like looking up and just like yet another bomb just coming straight towards his forehead. He's
Off the main wall.
Guys, we need to get some protection up there.
Some good players.
Anyway, so you got the blue court, which is the new one, which is you reckon early 2000s,
2002,
early noughties, and then you kind of the green court, the old one, which is where the change rooms are, like behind that. It is like adjacent. Is that the right word?
Yeah, it is
adjacent to the court to the blue. So actually, I reckon if you looked at it from like a bird's eye view, it must be quite a big complex.
Mate, real tennis courts aren't small.
Yeah, no, as in they're not like two next door to each other.
No,
like
at different angles.
They're like an L shape, so like that's gonna be quite a big. It's gonna take up a lot of room.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I wouldn't have played on the old court for years. I mean,
the only time
maybe a couple of National League matches. It very much seems like, and I could be very wrong here. I'm certainly not like planting any stereotypes or anything. But because of the viewing area and stuff like that on the new one, and that's where the streaming is, and the kitchen area upstairs and all that kind of stuff, it very much seems like the moment you graduate to a certain handicap level, you're only playing on the new one.
Yeah, valid.
So like if I played a National League match there or something, it would never be on the old court.
Very true.
I guess. So I've not played there for years.
No, you've played on the old.
Yeah, the old.
Yeah, nice.
I remember it being really nice.
It's nice. Yeah, it's nice, consistent.
Really, really nice. It's quite like an old building, isn't it?
It is old. It's an older building. The second one, yeah. The other building's a bit newer.
Stone corridor down to the changing room.
Yeah, that's the changes. Yeah, it's proper trek to the other court.
Yeah, I mean it's just quite old, isn't it? Like imagine with like the space that they've got and stuff as well. Imagine if someone just came in with like a massive load of dough and was like, "Let's give this place a renovation."
They've probably already done that.
Absolutely
20 years ago.
A1.
Cambridge, yeah, it'd be sick.
Unbelievable.
It's good already, but it just seems a bit old, doesn't it? I mean, I've walked from like that court in bare feet, just because like I can never be asked to put my shoe. And it is just like...
And that's a Cambridge-specific issue, is it?
It's just so annoying. I don't walk around in shoes often. But no, I think Cambridge has got a great car park as well. You try and get car parking in Cambridge anywhere other than the real tennis court.
Yeah, fair.
That is
a good one, actually.
Bit of trivia for you as well. I've actually slept there, upstairs in Cambridge.
After it must, that can only be an inter-university.
I didn't actually have anywhere to stay, and I'm backing myself. Clearly not very well, but like, I just thought to myself, God, I wonder if they've got an alarm on. I opened the door and I thought, I'm in it. And I slept upstairs. And
what on earth would you have done if it had gone off? Just run.
Yeah. And then I'd have been like, fuck, now what do I do? But Ben, you cross those bridges when you come to it.
Mate,
anyway.
Case Ludekins lives next door. You should have given him a knock.
Yeah, 3 a.m? Yeah, very good.
Yeah, okay. So
and then his mother-in-law came and saw me at 8 a.m. the next day and was like, how's you? And I was like, oh, I've got an early match. I'm just getting some sleep in. And I've been there all night.
Wow.
Anyway.
Yeah, okay. So in terms of like the way it plays, we're going to have to, I guess we'll talk about the newer one because that's the one we've all played on a bit more. Pretty slow, pretty bouncy. I remember watching Nick and Rob play there years ago. It was National League. I can't remember who Rob was playing with. I was playing with Nick. And I was sat in the winning gallery and Nick was serving railroads at Rob.
Spinning back.
No, and Rob was volleying them. And he was hitting the absolute piss out of it. Like cut volleys into the corner. And I remember just like hearing the connection and stuff and just going like, oh my God, that's just dead. I'm surprised the ball hasn't exploded. And it'd just go around the corner and Nick would just like sweep it up and put it in the grill. Like it's just, there's no cut there, is there? Really. So it's a rallier's dream. That must be why you love it.
Yeah, mate. It's
but
just
true.
So,
it's very true.
It really suits my retrieval. Like it does. Like I tend to read the ball well there. Like I read the timbre well, and I find if you're willing to really like come out your comfort zone and whack it, it goes well as well.
Yeah, it's true.
You have to attack. You can't just push it around. But like when I've played well there, I just thought, come on, don't just push it around. Let's actually attack. And then when you have to push it around, do it.
Well, see, because I think like courts like that, you can get away with like being tidy on the floor and stuff like that. But in order to win a match on
Yeah.
that court, you've got to take.
You've got to win.
You've got
You've
to
got to
go and
win
win
it,
it. Yeah,
100%, and
you
then-
can't just outwork people.
If that means like 2 forces in the gallery, great. At least you've been positive. Like you've got out the rally.
Yeah.
Like you've got to be dictating those points. Then you get the service end, bang. We're going to serve well. We're going to serve. Attack that grill corner and just be relentless because it is hard to get beaten on the floor there. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're at the service end, you're doing something wrong if you're getting beaten on the floor. Maybe
Yeah.
Nick will be doing something wrong. But like, I find you could, unless it's a gallery.
Rob Fay hitting cut volleys at him. So
Exactly, yeah.
We'll let him on.
Unless it's like a gallery, you should be getting that ball. Oh God, it's so true.
Yeah, but like the angles and stuff are very like
Wide.
it is very like it's a very true court. Like the
Yeah.
ball slides off the wall and stuff, and it doesn't. There's no like quirkiness to speak of. Like it's a perfectly nice court. It's just as an away player, very easy to go and play on.
I don't think it is. I think they'll come on it and be like, "Oh no, I'm in trouble here."
Well, no, but as in like you don't walk on court like you don't walk on an away. You walk on an away court sometimes, and you're like, "God, it's a bit like dead under the grill," or like it cuts down a bit more over here, and it's a bit quirky. You know what I mean? It's not that. You just get in there and go, right, it's not going to cut down, and all the bounces are kind of where you expect it. It just kicks around the corner quite a lot.
Yeah.
Fine.
No, very true.
And
very
just
true.
play with that blueprint, and you'll be fine because it won't shock you.
Yeah. But anyway, let's talk about. Oh my God, the clock's going.
Well, whereas the old court has, when I say a bit more about it, that doesn't sound very nice, but like it's a bit quicker. Like you can get the ball to move around a bit more and stuff like that.
A bit more conventional. And again, if you walked on as an away player, you're like, "Oh, this is fine."
Yeah, but probably more difficult
Yeah.
because it's a little bit quicker from memory, and the ball stays a bit lower, and there is a bit more to kind of there's more to beat you as the away player.
Yeah.
You can't just kind of run around. You can't be a you.
Thanks.
I think, but I haven't played on it enough to.
Well, on the old,
Yeah, not for.
you probably could.
The last time I would have played on the old,
It's proper. You can retrieve a lot there.
the last time I would have played on the old, I would have played National League, Division 2 with Austin Snellgrove for Canford.
This is niche.
So I was still working at Bridport,
That's a long time ago.
and yeah, we went up and played on like a Saturday or something. I think we went and played on a Friday evening. Yeah, and we were on the like old court,
Spooky.
and like that would have been that.
Let's talk about players who've come from Cambridge then, the home of real tennis.
Well, I mean
I propose a game of.
Come
on, you mentioned two.
All right, fine. Jamie Douglas,
Dave Woodman,
Jamie Giddens,
Ed Kay.
Ed Hyde.
He's shit. I'm joking. Very good. Who else? Neil Roxburgh.
Yes, very good.
That's a niche reference. Oh mate, there are so many.
Well,
by the way.
they've had some very good they've
Uni
had some
players.
very good players isn't
Mate, Andrew Page went to Cambridge.
it's like Duncan Colquhoun from
Well, he's like a
around
club
there
player,
or
yeah.
something.
He's a club player from Cambridge.
Yeah, they've had loads of good players up.
Mark Howard went to Cambridge.
Hobbsy,
One of the best players ever at Newmarket. He's back in the game.
Hobbsy.
Oh my God. Proker Pros, Adam Phillips.
Yeah, well, Chris Bray's from Cambridge, I think, isn't he?
I think he worked there. Yeah.
I don't know if he worked there, but I think he's from
Yeah,
he's from
yeah, he
Cambridge.
is.
Adam Phillips, big Cambridge United fan.
Oh my God, big fan of real tennis
Yeah.
in the National League. It's ultras, mate. We've already talked about that on here.
The ultras.
Anyway, that is tough. There's loads of people.
Hatfield, that's what we need to do. Yeah, I mean, it's got a
There's
very
loads of players.
It's got a very rich history of
Howard Angus.
really good. Like, it's got a good mix, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
got
yeah.
like some of the like middle-aged people that are like really, really good. They've got really become very good amateur players. It's got
Yeah.
a very good like recent track record with people that have
Amateurs.
become like 5 and better.
Yeah.
That are,
But
like,
will that
university
continue?
players?
I don't know.
Well, in theory, why not? Because
Yeah.
they're obviously all there. All of these like amazing squash players,
Yeah,
they're obviously all there. I don't know where they find them or like where they get them,
They're just clever, aren't they?
or who kind of grabs them or whatever and gets them to get out there and have a go. But like they've got a very good track record of it, so hopefully that continues. It'd be a
There we
shame
go.
if it didn't.
No, I hope so. There's some good players. Very good.
So
I love going down there.
who would be the number one in the varsity team for Cambridge at the moment?
I don't know. They've all left.
Right. So we're currently in an era where we don't have one of those
Fucking weird, that.
where we don't have one of those like amateur next-gen superstars?
No, they've all left Cambridge now.
Because they would have dominated. I mean, so I don't know how long ago Dave was there, but you had Dave, then straight off the conveyor belt to Jamie, straight off like the conveyor belt to like Ed and Jamie Giddens.
Very true, yeah. They rinsed the varsity for ages.
So like that's got to be.
2004.
50 years. It's going to be like 15 years of.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Serious players. So, come on, Cambridge, you're the home of real tennis. Find the next one.
Yeah, find the next world champion. What was I going to say? I love getting down there. It's very easy. It doesn't really take that long on the A14.
It depends where you're going from. Like it's easy from Leamington.
Straight off the road, bang. And it's got a car park. Guys, get yourself there.
Well, you can tick 2 courts off your list.
You literally can. Where would you rank it in your?
Which one?
Oh God. Right, we'll start with the old one then.
It's going to be the same as Jesmond for me, like lower middle third because I remember it being quite nice, but I've not played on it for so long.
Yeah.
I just can't remember. So that's not really.
For me, right, I think the old court is lower third for me. I think the penthouse is just dead. I think it's like
I just can't remember.
I think it's Tin Pot. That's a brutal revelation, that one. But I just think the blue is so much nicer.
Interesting.
The blue's top 5 course for me. I've always played well there.
Is it?
Yeah, I reckon a lot of people don't like it. Whenever I went there, I hate Cambridge. Or Daz hates it. I've never played badly there. I've never played badly.
Do you know what? So this is going to be quite. So the blue court, is that the new one?
Yeah.
Bottom third for me.
Fair.
Don't mind the way it plays whatsoever.
Doesn't suit your game.
What are you trying to say?
Go on.
Bit harsh.
Does it not?
Well, no, I don't mind the way it plays, and I don't play badly there. The floor's slippery.
I've never had that problem.
The floor's just slippery, and I don't trust. I don't trust it. So I never feel comfortable playing there, and that's the test.
Yeah, no, true.
Somebody said you've got to play a World Championship match there. Would you be happy? I would say to myself, no, because I don't trust that I'm going to have any cruciate ligaments left by the end.
I'd fire up, mate. I think there'd be a glass gallery, loads of people in the dead on. And
that's the only reason it's going down there. The way it plays is nice and it's absolutely fine. I've got no issue with it.
Don't worry. This podcast is no editing. It's like opinions only. We love opinions.
I've just had a couple of ropey experiences with the floor, and I just don't.
I thought you were about to say ropey experiences in Cambridge because I've had a few ropey experiences in Cambridge.
Sleeping in the club. So that's the only reason why.
Fair enough, mate. Well, there we go. If we've ticked off Cambridge, we'll have to do Newmarket next time. Yeah. I've been there one time. Mark Hobbs is the best player ever.
I've only played there once. It was with Hobbsy.
God, he's good. Best player ever on that Newmarket court. That's a massive in-joke, by the way. Basically, for 2016-17 on court, I think we used to talk about Mark Hobbs. And I hadn't even met him at that point. But, Benno, you off home then? Off upstairs to the flat? It's 8 o'clock, innit?
Yeah, just gone 5 past
Jesus,
8.
man. You've all these... I don't know why you've done it, but...
It'd be nice to have some dinner on the table, wouldn't it?
Do you want a sandwich? I've got a fruit juice.
I'll go back and make something. It's fine. I've got to have a stretch as well. I'm an old boy
I'm going to do that. I've got to have a shower at home.
I'm going to be in a bit of trouble if I don't have a stretch, having sat down here for an hour and 10 minutes.
I'm going to yeah, trust me, mate, my knees. I'm going to get the iPlayer on, see what's on.
Good plan.
But there we go. And guys, be prepared for some Instagram content today and tomorrow. We'll get some videos tomorrow.